Hello YouTube, so today we'll be looking at the 4th episode of Night Visions. Now again, I want to make this clear, if you haven't watched my other vlogs for this show yet, I will again be going into spoilers on the twist, so yeah, you've been warned. And as for the host in this episode, he's okay. I don't know why I keep on talking about him, it's not like he's of any significance really, so should probably just stop doing that, but I don't know, maybe he'll be super important one day, and like, the final episode will all be about him, and, like, his connection to night visions, and stuff like that. It's gonna be real interesting. Okay, I doubt that it's that, but there's a chance, very, very slim chance, but there's a chance that he could be significant for something other than just being a host. No, there isn't. He's probably just gonna be useless forever, but hey, at the very least, he's nope, actually, he's just sort of moderately giving a decent effort, so, yeah, he's okay. Again, I'm wasting time on this, so yeah, let's actually get into the first story here, which is called Now He's Coming Up the Stairs. So in this one, it's about a psychiatrist named Michael Sears. Yeah, the psychiatrist is named after a store. That's almost as silly as a Resident Evil character being called Kmart. That's a thing, by the way. Those movies. Just those movies. So, yeah, anyway, Dr. Sears is a psychiatrist who has the interesting ability to take away any of his patients' mental illness. The only problem with that is that he gets the illness for a little while, like a day or two. And yeah, it's been going on for a little bit longer than he's used to, so he goes to see a psychiatrist about it. Psychiatrist's gonna go see a psychiatrist. So yeah, he goes to see a psychiatrist, and he says that, yeah, he should probably just go on a break for it for a little while, because, you know, that'll really help with his supernatural powers. So he decides, yeah, that's a great idea, and then just decides to go on vacation and read books at a random diner. Truly the best vacation ever. But while he's there, he meets some woman named Carol, who asks for his help with her son Mark. Pretty much, and she accidentally hit a guy on a rainy night, and for some odd reason, she doesn't really feel that guilty about that. I don't know why, but yeah, her son's really torn up about it because she put her not at the legal age to be sitting there son in the passenger seat, and that's exactly where the guy's head came crashing in. So yeah, he saw that, and he's been a little bit scarred about that ever since, and yeah, so now he's just sort of been saying, now he's coming through the woods, now he's coming through the yard, now he's coming in the house, and now he's coming up the stairs over and over again. So, yeah, that's a little bit weird of a reaction to that. I mean, I'm just saying, I would maybe, like, go get him a therapist immediately after that, but no, she decided to wait for a while. You know, I mean, this is just a phase. He'll get over this. Yeah, I don't know why she thinks that, or why she thinks that it was totally okay to have her kid in the passenger seat when he's not of legal age. I'm just saying, if you get into a wreck, that airbag could really hurt him, you moron! This is a PSA right here. This is why you should not have your kids in that seat when they are not the right age. That is just... that's why this is happening here, guys. That's the whole reason. None of this would be happening, and Michael would be enjoying his vacation if she just had him sit in the back seat, but no. She decided that was a dumb idea. So yeah, anyway, Michael decides to do his thing on Mark, and Mark's immediately fine after that, and Michael takes some of his meds. And yeah, things seem to be going fine for a little bit until Mark starts saying the phrase again and runs into his room. However, Michael keeps on seeing the guy and hearing him outside, and so does the mother. So, yeah, now it's just sort of more the question of, is what's happening real or not? or just all in Michael's head. And yeah, eventually finds out, yeah, it probably is. So he just does some little self-therapy, and yeah, then everything's automatically just fine. And it turns out they just ran into a room all by himself, but then he wakes up and everything's great again when he gets a call from a psychiatrist wondering where he's been for the past few days. So yeah, I guess they've just been knocked out for a few days. That's not weird or anything. So yeah, then he goes downstairs to check on everyone, and it turns out they're all dead. So, yeah, do you have a psychotic episode or something? No, it's just like, turns out that zombie guy was actually a real thing. Nope, it wasn't actually. Yeah, there are 3 endings to this story. It's a little bit repetitive at a certain point, but, yeah, it turns out that, and this is actually just what Michael is seeing when he's saying the exact same phrase the kid was, and that's the point that the story ends on. Now, this story is okay, I will give it that. It is actually a pretty well executed story in certain aspects, which I will get into, but first let's talk about the negatives, because talking about bad things about something is always way more fun. So, yeah, one of the things is all the endings here. There are 3 of them. And it's a little bit repetitive at a certain point. Like, oh, is he just imagining all that? Nope, it's real. Oh, is he imagining this again? Nope, it's real again. Oh, no, he's just imagining it. Never mind, sorry. We just like playing with you like that. And yeah, it gets kind of annoying at a certain point because you already know how this story's gonna end. It's gonna either go one of 2 ways. Either the kid was right about the guy coming into the house and he was like psychic or something about that, or Michael will just get the mental illness and just keep it for a while. So yeah, that's the only way that the story could go here. So yeah, already knowing that kind of takes away from some of the suspense of the 3 endings here, and it just gets a little bit repetitive. That and the actor for Mark isn't that great. Now, I really don't like being harsh to kid actors because, I mean, they're kids and they're trying their best. I understand that, but God, this kid just isn't that great. I'm sorry, I will just judge him just for his acting talent in this episode alone. Now, I don't know, maybe he got a whole lot better. I've seen that he was in some other things later down the line, so yeah, maybe he's actually a really good actor now. I hope he is. I always do hope that kid actors go somewhere with their career, because, I mean, it happens way too often that they just sort of end up having a bad life after it, and yeah, I'm glad that he seems to be okay, so that's good, but still, this actor isn't very good in this role, and while I will give him credit that he can still keep on saying the phrase over and over while another conversation's going on, that does at least show that, you know, he is committed to it, and I do think that not a lot of other kids could be able to do that, given that they would probably get distracted from everything else going on, but still, so I do give him credit on that, but still, he just doesn't really have the right type of performance for this role, and really, while he's fine at doing dead stares while saying a phrase, when he's actually trying to be a normal kid, he doesn't really get a line in, and yeah, so you don't really actually get to see him for what he's normally like, and it's a bit disappointing for that, so we don't really get to know that much about him, thus making, and yeah, that does sort of showcase his acting a little bit more. And yeah, while I do think that he's okay, I do also think that, yeah, maybe they could have gotten another actor. Still, though, like I said, this actor seems to have gone on some other things, so I hope for the best for him. There's also Carol. She's okay. Really, I got nothing against her. She's a likable side character. And yeah, well, there's the thing that she did totally hit a guy in her car and seemingly didn't go back to see what happened to him. Or, well, I guess she wouldn't have really needed to go back, seeing that he went right through the windshield, but yeah. She doesn't really seem to have checked up on that, or at least she doesn't mention ever doing that, so she might just be a person who hit and run a guy, but yeah, she's not a horrible person, and yeah, you can still tell that she was mostly doing it to get her son out of there, because yeah, it was probably a traumatic experience, which it was for him, so yeah, she at the very least did try, and you can see that she really does care for her child, so yeah, she doesn't have that many scenes in this story, but she is still a pretty likable character as is. And then there's the most important character of all. The maid. Yes, she is significant in going up and checking on Michael twice. Yep. She's important to things. I don't even get why Carol really has a maid. Like, it doesn't really seem like they're all that wealthy. Can they really afford a maid? And why exactly do you need a maid? It's not like your house is that big. I'm just saying. I mean, I get that she could just be pretty busy and stuff, but still, I'm just saying, is it really worth just having some dust around your house sometimes than paying a maid? I'm just wondering, like, I don't have a maid, so yeah, is it worth it for that? Just wondering, just general question. But yeah, the maid is okay. She's fine. She shows up a bit. She's not horribly acted. She's just sort of there. She doesn't really do much, so yeah. But she does check on Michael twice, so that's significant. So yeah, and then that all leads on to the more positive stuff in this. And so one of the big ones is, well, Dr. Sears himself. He is actually a very likable character, and I am very glad for that. A few episodes on this show have just sort of had some characters that are very unlikable, and I didn't really care to see if they died, but Michael is actually a very likable one who I was actually very much rooting for. He's a good person who doesn't mind putting himself at risk in order to save other people. And yeah, he's a very likable character for that. You see what he puts himself through just in order to help some kids and stuff, and it's really a nice thing. He's a very good person, and I do like him. Especially since what he puts himself through, which I'll get into in a minute. But yeah, I really do like it when horror stories actually do try to have a main character. It's very annoying that on a lot of shows and movies from this time period that they just decide idiots partying is the best story and characters to have because, everyone loves that. Yeah, no. No, we don't. I honestly would much rather prefer having a likable character that I actually would like to follow and not see die or have a horrible fate subjected to them. But no, instead they're just like, oh yeah, parties and stuff and idiots. Isn't that awesome? But no, yeah, Michael is actually a different character from that, and I do like that. It wasn't very common for this time period, and I'm very glad that someone decided to do that with him, and yeah, he is a very likable character that I very much liked following. So, yeah, I very much enjoyed him in this, and it makes the ending for him all the more sad. That said, though, here's the thing. His illness tends to be done with in like a few days. Yes, okay. His psychiatrist and him even said that, yeah, this has been going on way longer than it normally does, but that was like for a whole day. That's how long his last episode had, so yeah, I'm just saying, it's not all that bad. I mean, really, the ending to this, I'm just like, oh, so he's gonna be fine in like a week or so? Wow. Horrible? I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll leave some mental scars or something. I don't know. It could potentially do that, or maybe it could have gone to the point where it's so bad that it can't really cure itself, but still, I really don't feel like this is as much of a downer ending as they were going for when they say in this episode, when they say in this story a few times that, yeah, he does have methods in order to help himself with this, and also it does tend to just sort of pass after a while, so yeah, I don't really think that has the same weight to it as, oh my god, he's never gonna be cured, and they don't really say that that's the case for this, so yeah, I honestly don't find it that impactful. That said, though, it is still pretty sad if that is the case that he will be like this forever, as like I said, he is a very likable main character, and I enjoyed following him a lot. He's definitely one of the characters that I enjoyed seeing on the show a whole lot more, and I very much enjoyed following. So then the other big positive of this story is visuals. Okay, so like I said, Michael can pretty much take in any mental illness from his patients, and yeah, we get to see that. So, like, one of them has, like, a fear of food or something. I don't really know that much about that type of mental illness. I mostly try and find out about ones that make people psychotic, because that's way more interesting to me. But, yeah, he takes in one of those illnesses, and pretty much he sees like cockroaches crawling around on his food, and all the food is rotted and stuff. And it's really pretty disturbing to see him having to force himself to eat that, because, yeah, if he doesn't, then he's just not going to be eating for a day, and he doesn't want to put himself through that. So, yeah, he just forces himself to eat, and that's how he deals with the illness. It's kind of interesting to see, and it's also very disturbing imagery. That said, though, they don't really do that often in this episode, or at least not as much as to my liking. Like, we only see that, and we see the ending with, like, his first dream about what's happening, and then his second one where he goes downstairs and, like, sees them all dead, and then the guy pops up behind him. So while I really do love the visuals in this where they are, I do kind of wish that there were a bit more scenes with that. That said, though, what they do with it is really good, and I really do like some of the more creepy imagery here. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. He's coming up the stairs. I definitely do think that's a pretty good story, and it's definitely the better one of this episode, and has a very likable main character, and some very good visuals. That said, though, some of the acting isn't that great, and yeah, the multiple endings can get a bit annoying after a while, but still, I do enjoy it for what it is, and I wouldn't mind rewatching it if any of my friends want to or something. So for the next one, it is Used Car. And yes, that's why I got Christine over here, and also the movie Christine. So, yeah, alright, you'll see why when we get into this. So, this story is about Charlotte, who's played by Audrey from Twin Peaks. That's neat. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool that she's in this. I kept on knowing that she was familiar while watching this story, and I was like, where is she from? And then I just looked her up, and yeah, so it's cool that she's Audrey. So, yeah, Charlotte is the wife of a doctor named Jack, and she wants to feel a little bit more useful. She's just sort of feeling pretty useless lately, in that, well, the most that she does is sort of typical cliche wife things while her husband goes out and makes the money, because, well, he's a doctor, so he has a lot of money from that job, so yeah, she's sort of feeling a bit useless, so she decides that what can really give her life meaning is buying a used car. So she decides to buy one that just plays the radio for her, and it plays Someday We'll Be Together. So she decides that this was meant to be, and that this song, and that this car turning the radio on by itself isn't weird in the slightest. So she decides to buy it, and much to her husband's dismay. So then she decides, yeah, this isn't really giving that much meaning to my life as I thought it would. So she decides, you know what, let's just have a baby, which is something that Jack's always wanted to do, but she's been reluctant about until now. And so, yeah, it's great to know that she decided the only reason for them to have a kid is because she's really bored. That's the best reason to have a kid there. So, yeah, they bang that night, and then she just has this suspicion that she's probably pregnant. That's how pregnancy works. So, yeah, she decides to go get a pregnancy test immediately because, you know, it doesn't take a while for the actual side effects to show up of that. And so, yeah, she decides to immediately test it, but then it turns out that there's some weird ghost girl in her car who she tells her friend about, and she's like, oh, that's nothing, that's just a pregnancy hallucination thing. Don't worry, I had one about, like, my kid being born as, like, a big pile of flies, so don't worry, that's normal. Her friend might be a tad psychotic. I feel like there's a bit of a horror story missing with her there, but, yeah. So, anyway, Charlotte thinks that, yeah, this ghost girl's probably pretty nice. I mean, she said that she's gonna have a baby and everything. She's totally a nice person. So, yeah, Charlotte's just gonna go have a pregnancy test, but the ghost does it for her, and it turns out that the ghost slit her wrists. So, yeah, she's a very nice woman, and Charlotte isn't very startled by this because, you know, all ghosts decide to just show off how they die like that while saying that they're gonna have a baby in the same manner that they said when they were totally normal. That's not weird at all. There is nothing suspicious about this scenario. So she decides, screw checking to see if I'm pregnant. So yeah, we don't actually ever know if she's pregnant. Kind of a pointless subplot there, but yeah, anyway, so And Charlotte goes and decides to look into the person who last owned her car and killed himself in it, and it turns out that's a woman named Lucy. So she goes to see her uncle, who says that she was a dancer, and obviously that means that Charlotte immediately thinks that she was a stripper. Because she can't just actually be a professional dancer. That's too far-fetched. I mean, yeah, she's right, of course, but still, I would have really liked it if he was like, no, what are you talking about? No, she's just an actual dancer. What is wrong with you? I would have loved it if he just said that. But, of course, no, she's a stripper, because we gotta live up to cliches. So, yeah, he gives her this box of stuff that he was going to throw away because it was pretty useless, and he gives it to Charlotte, and she looks through it, and she finds out that apparently there's a picture of Lucy and her husband, Jack. That's a little bit weird, and them together on top of the car. So she begins to question this, and instead of just thinking, oh, this could just be an old friend of his, she immediately thinks that he cheated on her, and it turns out that, yes, he was right, that she's right about that, but again, I would have just really liked it if instead of going into the cliche route, he was like, no, she's just an old friend of mine, that's all. But no, of course, yeah, they did have a thing together, and actually, Lucy was pregnant, and Jack decided to call it off at that point because he did still care about his wife Charlotte, and this was supposed to just be a one-time thing. And Lucy gets very upset about that, and we'll get into that in a sec. So yeah, Charlotte finds out about that, and instead of trying to hear his side of things, or why he's saying that she shouldn't go back in that car, she decides that that's a dumb idea, so she just goes back in there, and decides to talk to the car, because that's a sane thing to do, and the car shows her what happened, and the car shows a little bit of their relationship, them banging, and then him buying the car, and her telling Jack that he should kill his wife so they can be together, usual relationship stuff. So yeah, Charlotte freaks out when she gets to the whole wife killing thing. I don't know why. That's a pretty normal thing to declare. And then Lucy just kills her by suffocating her. And Charlotte decides that the best idea is just to try and unlock the car that the ghost is controlling, instead of just taking off her high heels and just breaking the window open and getting out of the damn car. Idiot! I'm sorry, she's an idiot in this scene. I kept on just saying, you're wearing high heels, you moron! Just take them off and break that window and get out! Seriously, you were smarter on the Super Surreal show than you are in this, and God. So, yeah, she dies in the car. Shock, if only there was something that she could have done to prevent that. Darn the luck, darn. So then the car drives back up to Jack's place, blaring that song again, and then he comes down to see what's this all about, and then he sees Charlotte's body pop out with "Someday We'll Be Together" written on the window, and yeah, that's the ending point to this. He grieves his wife. So, then he immediately crushed the car, I guess. I mean, I'm just saying, Lucy, you didn't really plan this out. If you really want to be with him forever, like you say, maybe kill him. I'm just saying that could maybe be a more productive method. I mean, I get that you want him to suffer, but I don't really think that he's gonna want to be with you after killing his wife that he does love. Just saying, that might be a bit of a turnoff there. But yeah, anyway, so I just assume that he probably crushed the car immediately after this, because, well, it just killed his wife, so yeah, it wasn't really that great of a plan for you either way you look at this, Lucy. Idiot. So, yeah, this story ends as stupidly as it began, and this is probably the worst story that I've seen on this show. Yet again, it's another Stephen King ripoff, and a very, very obvious one. Even more than the Shining ripoff one they had a few episodes ago, because dear God, is this one not subtle. At the very least, the other one, it changed it up a bit and stuff, and was mostly dealing with that character's mental state and not really using ghosts to influence him. Here, though, it's pretty much point for point, with some things from the book, actually, so maybe I think they got a little bit from the book and movie here, but yeah, pretty much the car, for one, is red, which, I mean, yeah, Christine. I mean, it doesn't have as much class as this girl because Christine's awesome. Seriously, Christine is awesome. If I haven't said enough, I really like the movie Christine. But, yeah. So, yeah, the car doesn't have as much style as Christine, but, yeah, it's still a very obvious sort of ripoff in a more modern setting, and then there's also that Charlotte starts dressing like Lucy, which is something that was another thing, which is something that happened to Arnie as well, and also the driver in the back seat. So yeah, that's actually from the book. They decided to cut that for the movie because American Werewolf in London had come out in the time, and yeah. So yeah, you can look into that more if you want to, or I'll just tell you about it in the comments, because I will talk about Christine all day. I do mean that, by the way. I love Christine. You can talk about that movie until my throat gives out, because it is great. But, yeah, so there's that, and, yeah, and also suffocating her in the car and stuff like that. It's just all a very obvious ripoff of Christine, and not a very good one. It just sort of feels like they were just like, well, Christine's the go-to killer car story, so let's just do that instead of trying to be original about anything, and yeah, I do get that they do have different themes in this story, like Christine is more about jealousy and obsession, whereas this story is more about betrayal and affairs, but still, I really do think that Christine definitely handled it a whole lot better and was way more subtle about its approach. Here, though, they're just like, killer car! Scary! No, it's not. And yeah, I do actually find the movie version of Christine a little bit scarier, given that, well, it's an actual car that's just born evil, created evil. Whereas in the book, it's just like, oh, it's just some ghost guy that really liked this car for some reason. However, here it's again doing the ghost thing, and I honestly just sort of find this inanimate, emotionless object a whole lot scarier when it's hunting you down relentlessly and can fix itself, which, by the way, they don't say that it fixes itself at any point. But yeah, when it's doing that, I find that a whole lot creepier. That and couple it with John Carpenter's directing, which, yeah, is something that would have been great for this story because it was needed. It was very, very needed, because without a really good director on this, I mean, like, the director is fine, and it has some good shots, like, the rear view mirror looking in on Charlotte and stuff like that at one scene, and, yeah, there's some good stuff like that, but it doesn't really have the same sort of style or the sort of trink the car with as much grace as John Carpenter could do, and yeah, I do get that no one can really film a car like John Carpenter can, and yeah, I definitely do agree with that, but still, I do really wish that they had tried a little bit more to make the car sort of feel like this haunting image, instead of just having it be like, oh, yeah, it's just this car, isn't that cool? So, yeah, that does take away a bit of it for me. And then there are the characters. Oh, but also, while we're talking about the director, why didn't Keith Gordon direct this story? I mean, I'm just saying, Keith Gordon was in Christine. He directed 2 episodes of your show, but you don't get him to direct the killer car story? Come on, missed opportunity, guys. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to the characters who are equally as bad. And yeah, remember how I said with the last story that, like, Michael was a very likable character and I actually didn't want to see him die at all? Not so much for this story. So let's start off with the most important one, Charlotte's best friend. She's there, shows up like twice, that's kind of it. So yeah, moving on from her importance and significance to everything. So first there's Charlotte. She's an idiot. She's pretty much very dependent on her husband, so she's not very independent or strong character in her own right, and she's one of those characters that's like, oh, well, I really want to be independent, but doesn't really do anything to try to be that, or really even try and get a job or something, and when her husband just says, oh, well, you don't need a job, and then she's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, it makes sense when you say it like that, so yeah, she's not a very strong or independent character, something that is kind of a shame when I feel like this actress is really good doing that. She did a really good job with stuff like that with Audrey, who was a very strong character and a very likable one. I mean, she wasn't as strong as she was when the Twin Peaks returned and stuff, but still, I do think that she is a very good character, and I do think that's a shame that she couldn't bring a little bit of that to this role. And yeah, the character just sort of immediately turns on her husband, never really giving him the chance to explain himself, and then just deciding to go headfirst into a dangerous situation with a ghost car because she trusts the ghost in the car way more than her own husband. I mean, I get they cheated on you and stuff, and yeah, you have the reason to be mad. I understand that, but I mean, he's saying that this is a dangerous thing. Maybe hear why before you just run into the car. I mean, to be fair, I've never been caught in an affair, so I guess that it can pretty much blind you to the truth sometimes, and yeah, it just won't really make you want to hear about the person that's cheating on you, but still, though, it is kind of annoying. When the whole story, she's pretty much just like, oh, well, I really love you, and there's even a point where she's like, well, if you ever cheated on me, I'd be cool with it, but then when that actually does happen, I mean, yeah, I guess that she said that jokingly, but when that does actually happen, she doesn't even hear his side of it. And yeah, his side of it was probably just that he was very lonely for a while and just needed companionship, and he took it too far for too long. And yeah, she never really gives him the chance to explain that or even try. So yeah, she isn't that likable. I do understand her point in the whole affair thing, but still, I would have liked it if she at least tried hearing him out for a second and then stormed out. Which, yeah, she does for a little bit, but I feel like she could have given him at least another minute to try and explain this, and instead of just being like, oh, well, I'm just gonna go trust the killer car. That's a way better solution. Yeah, this is a great idea, don't worry. So, yeah, she just goes into the killer car and dies. So, yeah, that was a great idea from her. And then there's Jack. Now, he's actually probably the most likable character in this. I know that's a bad thing to say about the cheating a-hole, but, yeah. I liked him a whole lot more than Charlotte or Lucy. At the very least, he's a doctor, so he's going out helping people, while Charlotte is just sort of going around doing nothing most of the time, and Lucy, well, we'll get to her, but at the very least, Jack is helping people. That's something. But yeah, it's still, though, he's a cheating a-hole, and yes, his reason for things is, well, I was lonely for a while, so I just decided to hook up with this lady, and then I let things go too far. Now, yes, I do think that, yeah, he could probably explain that to her a little bit better than he does, but, yeah, still, that doesn't make him any more in the right in this situation, and, yeah, I do feel like, you know, he kind of deserves what he got coming to him here. Charlotte, less so. I mean, yes, I don't like Charlotte, but I do still think that she didn't deserve what happens to her. But yeah, at the very least, Jack is okay, and I didn't mind him. Now, that's probably mostly due to him just having a few scenes, and yeah, so for what he is, he's fine, and you can see that he did care about his wife, but still, that does also leave it as to why would he even cheat on her if he did actually care about her. So, yeah, like I've said, I haven't really been caught up in an affair, so if there's ever a reason for that, or you would like to explain how that is like, then go ahead, I'll listen, I guess. So, yeah, Jack is alright, but still, he's a pretty dislikable character in some ways. And then there's Lucy. Okay, so Lucy is an idiot. So pretty much her big plan here, I guess, I don't really know, was to kill herself. That would get him. Can understand that. Yeah, totally. Not just going and killing his wife or something like, you know, she said that would be a good idea to do. No, that's a dumb idea to do that when you're alive. No, instead become a ghost in a car. That'll work so much better. So yeah, she decides to go do that, I guess. Or she just tried killing herself and became a ghost in a car and then decided, I can work with this. So yeah, she decides to haunt the car, and coincidentally, Charlotte decided to buy it. You know, if she didn't, then this whole plan would have gone out the window. Like, if they went to another dealer that day, I'm just saying, like, there are a lot of things that could have gone wrong here for you, Lucy, and just saying, you're very lucky that this didn't end up going this way. But, yeah, anyway, so Jack also lets her buy it, so that's also very coincidental. And then she decides to try and convince Charlotte into thinking that she's her friend when she could just kill her right from the get-go. But no, she wants to play the long game for no real reason, and then decides to murder her because I guess that she just really wanted... Because I guess that she wanted Jack to know that it was her doing it or something. I really don't know. I mean, she could just wrote on the glass, like, hey, it was Lucy who did this, or something. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you probably could have done this. You probably could have just let him know that was you a few better ways than having Charlotte coincidentally look into all this, which, yeah, there's a chance that she might not have done that if she just didn't care about the ghost girl in the back seat, or if she just didn't think that this car was worth having after that, which, yeah, she was going to bring the car back to the dealer, so, yeah, there's a perfectly good chance that she could decide on doing that. You're very lucky that she decided to be the idiots from the Conjuring 1 in the Annabelle scene, where they're just like, well, this ghost must be pretty nice, I'll trust it, because, you know, all the reason that ghosts stick around is for good things, because, you know, I mean, most of the time it's because they have unfinished business, which is mostly malevolent stuff, but, yeah, clearly, no, this is probably a good situation. The characters in Annabelle were dumb. Okay, well, in The Conjuring, were dumb. Characters in Annabelle were even more dumb. Okay, I'm getting onto that. But, so yeah, Lucy has a pretty dumb plan that will probably end with her being crushed. So yeah, you'll really be with Jack that way. I understand your reasoning here. No, I don't. Like why? Why don't you just go into Jack's car and kill yourself in there, and then, you know, you're haunting his car, so, you know, he'll see you all the time, and you'll drive him nuts or something. I don't know, you could do something like that. Like, that would... I mean, okay, you would probably, you know, get a new car after you kill yourself in it, but still, I'm just saying, or maybe kill yourself in some other car, so then, you know, maybe he doesn't automatically know that it's yours. I'm just saying, this was a kind of dumb plan in every aspect. So yeah, Lucy's an idiot, but yeah, at the very least, I do understand her point. She did have a kid with Jack, and yeah, I do understand her wanting to, you know, have the kid have a father and everything. But still, though, her just being like, what? You won't be with me? We'll kill your wife! That'll solve all of our problems! Yeah, that was amazingly not the smartest decision there. Just saying, it's kind of a dumb way to solve all this. So yeah, the second story is a very blatant ripoff of a very good movie and book. So yeah, I recommend just watching the movie or the book. Not this story, because it's really dumb. Most of the characters aren't very likable, except for side character, whose best friend is Charlotte, who doesn't really do anything here, which makes her not very dislikable. So yeah, she ends up probably being the most likable character. Although Jack's probably the most likable recurring one, because at the very least he has some sense in his head, while the others are just kind of dumb and just sort of doing their own thing because, I don't know, they're idiots and they want more independence, I don't know. But yeah, they are pretty dumb characters, and while it does have some good performances to it, and also it has Audrey from Twin Peaks, so that's really cool, it still is a very blatant ripoff of something that I prefer a whole lot more. So yeah, call me biased, but yeah, I really just didn't very much like this story, and I definitely prefer the last one to it. It also doesn't have very likable main characters, and like I said for the last one, that's something that I really do think is very important when telling a horror story. You want characters to live, that's why you follow them. It doesn't work when you just decide, oh, well, you gotta hate the characters in order to not want to see them die. I never got that thought process, and it's very dumb, and yeah, that's kind of why I bring up that Michael's a very likable character in contrast to this. So yeah, this story is not very good, and I would just recommend skipping it and going to the next one, or just rewatching the one prior to it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Bye.